I watched my brother raise his champagne glass, that familiar smirk playing across his face, and felt my stomach drop. Something in his eyes told me this wasn't going to be the touching family toast I'd hoped for when I spent $50,000 organising this casual family reunion at the Grand. My name is Charlie, and I've spent the last decade pretending not to notice the whispers, the side eyes, the constant reminders that at 36 I'm still single, still married to my work. As if building a multi-million-dollar luxury event, planning empire from scratch was something to be ashamed of. "To my dear sister," Aston's voice carried across the room, wine-soaked and dripping with false warmth, "who has everything except a real life." A few awkward chuckles rippled through the crowd. I kept my face neutral, years of handling difficult clients coming in handy. "I mean, who needs love when you have spreadsheets, right?" he continued, encouraged by Zoe's theatrical giggle from beside him. "Who needs children when you have quarterly reports?" "And designer shoes," Zoe chimed in, her Instagram-ready smile never reaching her eyes. "Though I suppose someone has to be the lonely workaholic of the family." My mother Tabitha tittered nervously, shooting me a look that clearly said, "Just laugh it off." The same look she'd given me for years whenever Aston needed just a little help with rent, or when Zoe required another small loan for her influencer wardrobe. I stood up slowly, smoothing my Valentino dress, the same one Zoe had borrowed last month for a sponsored post. "You're right, Aston. I do have everything." I took the microphone from his hand, including the receipts. The room went dead silent. "Let's see." I pulled out my phone, thumbing through my banking app with deliberate slowness. "Last month's mortgage payment on your house, $4,200. The lease on Zoe's Range Rover, $100. The small business loan for your interior design firm, $75,000. I looked up, meeting their increasingly pale faces. "Oh, and that Gucci bag you're carrying, Zoe? The one you told your followers was gifted by the brand? That was $3,600 from my account 2 weeks ago." "Charlie!" Aston stepped forward, his charm morphing into panic. "This isn't the time." "It's exactly the time," I cut him off, my voice steady. "You know what successful workaholics are really good at? Keeping immaculate records." Rachel, my best friend and business partner, was trying to hide her smile behind her wine glass. She'd been telling me for years to stop bankrolling their lifestyle. "As of tonight," I continued, "the Bank of Charlie is permanently closed. No more mortgages, no more car payments, no more funding your Instagram perfect life with my supposedly sad, lonely existence." Zoe's perfectly contoured face crumpled. "You can't just—" "I can, I am." I set the microphone down gently, and I did. "Mom." Aston turned to Tabitha, who was clutching her pearls like a lifeline. "Say something." But for once, our mother stayed silent, perhaps finally seeing what I'd known all along. Her golden child was nothing but fool's gold. I picked up my Birkin, paid for with my own money, thank you very much, and headed for the door. Behind me, chaos erupted. Zoe was crying about her followers. Aston was attempting damage control with their friends. Someone knocked over a champagne tower, the one I'd paid for, naturally. "Charlie, wait!" Aston called after me. "We were just joking. You're taking this too seriously." I paused at the door, turning back one last time. "You know what's really lonely, Aston? Realizing your own brother sees you as nothing but an ATM with a pulse." As I walked out into the cool night air, my phone buzzed with incoming texts. I ignored them all except one from Rachel. That was better than any revenge fantasy I've ever had. "But you know they won't let this go easily, right?" I smiled, sliding into my car. "I'm counting on it," I typed back. Because here's the thing about being a so-called workaholic. We're really good at playing the long game, and tonight was just move one. The valet handed me my keys with a sympathetic smile. Poor kid had probably witnessed the whole thing. I slipped him an extra 100. I might be done bankrolling my family, but I'm not a monster. As I pulled away from the Grand, my phone lit up with Aston's face. Decline. Another call. Zoe, this time. Decline. A text from Mom. Please, let's talk about this. I turned my phone off completely and pointed my car toward home. For the first time in years, I felt lighter, cleaner, free. Let them panic. Let them scramble. The lonely workaholic was done playing family bank. 3 days after the toast that shattered my family's facade, I sat in my office, staring at the down payment receipt from when I bought Aston and Zoe their dream house. $200,000. The memory of that day hit me like a punch to the gut. You're an angel, Char, Zoe had squealed, hugging me tight. The best sister-in-law anyone could ask for. Aston had gotten misty-eyed. I'll pay you back every penny, I swear. That was 4 years ago. They hadn't paid back a single dollar. My intercom buzzed. Rachel's here, my assistant announced. Rachel walked in, carrying 2 coffee cups and wearing her "we need to talk" face. Your brother called me 6 times this morning. Join the club. I gestured to my phone, which displayed 47 missed calls. What did he want? To convince me to talk sense into you. She handed me a coffee. He says you're having some kind of breakdown. Apparently, successful women who stand up for themselves must be mentally unstable. I laughed bitterly. Did he mention how he used the business loan I gave him to lease a Porsche? No, but Zoe posted a cryptic Instagram story about toxic family members and setting boundaries. The irony is spectacular. Rachel perched on my desk. Are you ready for what comes next? People like them, when you take away the money, you get the monster. My phone buzzed again. Aston's face filled the screen. Answer it, Rachel urged. On speaker, I want to hear this. I took a deep breath and hit accept. Hello, Aston. Finally. His voice was honey smooth, the way it always got when he wanted something. We need to talk about what happened, sis. You clearly misunderstood. Did I misunderstand the $75,000 loan that was supposed to be for your business? That's complicated. Business expenses are. Is a Porsche a business expense? Silence. Then, how did you... I know everything, Aston. Every penny, every lie. Look, his voice hardened slightly. You're obviously stressed, working too hard as usual. Why don't you come over for dinner? Zoe's making your favourite pasta. My favourite pasta that I paid for with my Whole Foods delivery subscription that you've been using for the past 2 years. Rachel snorted into her coffee. You're being ridiculous, Aston snapped. This is what Mum always warned us about. You're letting money come between family. No, you did that when you decided to mock me in front of everyone I know. It was a joke. God, when did you become so sensitive? Probably around the same time you became so entitled. I kept my voice level. The money is done, Aston. All of it. Figure out your own life. You can't just... I can. I did. Goodbye. I hung up as he was mid-protest. Rachel slow clapped. That was beautiful, she said. But you know, this is just the beginning, right? My computer pinged with a new email. From Mia, Zoe's cousin who worked in our accounting department. Subject line, you need to see this. I opened it to find scanned documents from Aston's design firm. Expense reports, invoices, bank statements. My eyes widened as I scrolled. Rachel, I said slowly, look at these numbers. She leaned over my shoulder, then whistled low. Holy shit! He's been cooking the books. These expenditures don't match what he reported to the bank. Or to you. The loan I gave him. I clicked through more documents. He split it into multiple accounts, some under different company names. That's fraud, Charlie. My phone buzzed with a text from Mum. Please call your brother. He's very upset. You know how sensitive he is about money. I showed Rachel the message. She rolled her eyes. Sensitive about money? He's sensitive about not having access to your money. All these years, I said quietly, Mum pushed me to take care of him. He's not as strong as you, Charlie. He needs help, Charlie. Family supports family, Charlie. I looked at the fraudulent documents on my screen. Some support. Rachel squeezed my shoulder. What are you going to do? I forwarded Mia's email to my personal account, then to my lawyer. I'm going to do what I do best. Work? A plan. I smiled grimly. They wanted to mock the workaholic? Let's show them what a workaholic can really do. My phone lit up again, Zoe this time, probably calling to play good cop after Aston's failed attempt. I declined the call and pulled up my banking app instead. Time to see exactly where every dollar had gone over the past 5 years, because if there's one thing I've learned in business, it's this. Follow the money, and you'll find the truth. And I had a feeling my brother and his wife were about to learn just how expensive the truth could be. Miss Charlie? Mia hovered in my office doorway, clutching a stack of papers to her chest like a shield. I found something else. I gestured for her to come in. Over the past week, Zoe's younger cousin had been surprisingly helpful, though I suspected she had no idea she was helping me build a case against her own family. These came in for Zoe, Mia said, placing the papers on my desk. She's still using our office address for her influencer deliveries. I picked up the first document, a contract for a $20,000 sponsorship deal with a luxury skincare brand. My address was listed as the business contact. She asked me to forward everything to her, Mia continued, fidgeting with her sleeve. But technically, since it's your address. Thank you, Mia. I started scanning the documents. You did the right thing. My phone buzzed with a notification. Rachel had sent me a link to Zoe's latest Instagram post, a perfectly filtered photo of her looking pensively out a window, caption reading, "Sometimes toxic people reveal themselves when you finally stand in your truth. Boundaries. D. Healing. B. Family trauma." The comments were flooded with sympathetic responses. Stay strong, Queen, and family can be so toxic. If they only knew. There's something else, Mia said quietly. I think Zoe's been selling the PR packages she receives. I looked up sharply. What do you mean? She gets all these free products from brands, right? But I've seen listings on her private Poshmark account, the same items marked as new with tags selling for full price, while claiming they're gifted products in her sponsored posts. Mia nodded. That's tax fraud, I said, pulling up Zoe's Instagram profile. Sure enough, there was a recent post showing her obsession with a $500 face cream, the same brand that had sent contracts to my office. Gifted, ad geeky sponsored, my intercom buzzed. Caden is here to see you. Perfect timing. I'd been waiting for Aston's business partner to show up. Thank you, Mia, I said. Could you pull all of Zoe's delivery records from the past year and any correspondence about sponsorship deals? After she left, Caden walked in. He looked tired, his usually crisp suit slightly rumpled. Charlie, he said, running a hand through his hair, we need to talk about Aston. Sit, I gestured to the chair across from me. Tell me what's going on. The numbers don't add up. Client payments, supplier invoices, nothing matches. I've been trying to make sense of it for months, but he keeps dodging my questions. I pulled out the documents Mia had found earlier. Like these? Caden's eyes widened as he looked them over. Where did you get these? Does it matter? What matters is that my brother has been misusing funds, your company's funds, my investment. I had no idea, he said quickly, about any of it. The loan you gave us, he told me it was family money, inheritance. I laughed coldly. The only thing Aston inherited was an inflated sense of entitlement. My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. You might want to check who's really signing those company checks. Not all signatures are what they seem. I showed it to Caden. His face went pale. The vendor payments, he muttered. I knew something felt off about them. Before I could respond, my email pinged. From Mia again. Urgent. Found these in the mailroom. Attached were photos of credit card applications, all using my address, all in Zoe's name. She'd been using my business address to apply for cards, probably because her credit was shot. Identity theft, I said out loud. That's a new low, even for them. Caden looked sick. Charlie, I swear I didn't know. I believe you. I did. Caden had always been the responsible one. But now you do know. What are you going to do about it? He straightened his tie, something shifting in his expression. I'm going to need copies of everything you have. Planning to leave the sinking ship. Planning to do what I should have done months ago. He pulled out his phone. I have documents too. Bank statements, forged signatures, suspicious transfers. He was my friend. I wanted to believe there was an explanation. There is an explanation, I said. My brother's a fraud, and it's time everyone knew it. My phone lit up with another Instagram notification. Zoe had posted again. A tearful selfie about standing strong in the face of adversity. I smiled, thinking about the stack of evidence building on my desk. Hey, Kaiden, how do you feel about helping me plan one last event? What kind of event? The kind where everyone finally sees the truth. I held up one of the forged documents. And this time, I won't be paying for it. You need to fix this, Charlie. My mother's voice crackled through the phone as I stood in the county records office. Your brother can barely sleep. Zoe's been crying for days. I'm a bit busy right now, Mom. I held the property deed to Aston and Zoe's house in my trembling hands. Actually, I'm looking at something very interesting. What could be more important than family? How about fraud? I snapped. Did you know when Aston filed the deed for the house I paid for, he listed himself as sole owner? My name isn't even on it. Silence on the other end. Mom? Well, she said carefully, he is the man of the house. It makes sense. It makes sense that he committed mortgage fraud with my money. Don't be dramatic. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable... My phone beeped with another call. The display showed a name I hadn't seen in 2 years. Josh. I have to go. I cut Mum off mid-rationalization. I'll call you later. I switched calls. Josh? Hey, Charlie. His voice was exactly as I remembered it. I saw Zoe's posts about family drama. Wanted to check if you're okay. That's thoughtful of you, I said flatly, especially since you're engaged to her friend Maria now. He coughed awkwardly. You heard about that? Instagram algorithm. Funny how it works. I tucked the deed into my bag. What do you really want, Josh? Look, there's something you should know. About Zoe? The records clerk called my name, waving another document. Hold that thought, I told Josh, walking to the counter. The clerk handed me a stack of financial records. Right on top was a loan application with my signature on it, a signature I had never made. Josh, I said slowly, what were you about to tell me about Zoe? He sighed heavily. Maria found some messages from when you and I were together. Zoe and I, the pieces clicked into place. The weird tension at family gatherings, the way Zoe always seemed to know things about my relationship with Josh that I hadn't told her. You were sleeping with my sister-in-law. It was a mistake, he said quickly. A stupid mistake, but with everything coming out now. Save it. I photographed the forged signature. Thanks for the info, Josh. Give my best to Maria. I hung up and immediately called Rachel. Remember when you said taking away the money reveals the monster? I said when she answered. Well, the monster's been busy, very busy. What did you find? Forged signatures, hidden loans, and apparently Zoe was sleeping with Josh while he and I were together. Rachel swore colourfully. Want me to ruin her? Not yet. I walked out of the records office into the bright afternoon sun. First, I need to talk to someone. 20 minutes later, I sat across from Caden in a quiet coffee shop. I found these this morning. He slid a folder across the table. Bank statements showing transfers from company accounts to personal ones, all authorised by Aston. I opened the folder. The numbers made me dizzy. This is way more than the loan I gave him. He's been siphoning client deposits. Caden looked exhausted. Using them to cover personal expenses. The Porsche, Zoe's shopping sprees, vacations. My phone buzzed with a text from Mia. More packages came for Zoe. Found receipts showing she's been selling the PR gifts for cash. Unreported income. I showed Caden the text. Seems fraud runs in the family. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, my mother burst into the coffee shop, Aston trailing behind her. This has gone far enough, she announced, drawing stares from other customers. We're having a family meeting, right now. Aston wouldn't meet my eyes. Char, please, we can work this out. I pulled out the forged loan document. Can we work this out too? He blanched. That's not... I can explain... Explain forging my signature? Or explain stealing from your company? I looked at our mother. Or maybe explain why you listed yourself as sole owner of a house I paid for. I did that to protect you, he said desperately, for tax purposes. Stop lying, Caden cut in. Just stop. Mum sank into a chair, her righteous anger deflating. Aston, what did you do? What he always does, I said, standing up. Takes and takes until there's nothing left. But here's the thing. I'm not just some ATM he can drain. I'm the CEO of a major company, and I don't take kindly to fraud. Are you threatening your own brother? Mum asked, aghast. No. I gathered my documents. I'm promising consequences. As I walked out, my phone lit up with a news alert. Someone had leaked information about Zoe's influencer scams to a major gossip site. I smiled. Rachel always did have perfect timing. Influencer exposed, the fake sponsorship scandal, rocking social media blazed across my screen as Zoe's perfectly curated world began to crumble. The article detailed how she'd been selling gifted products for profit while claiming sponsored partnerships with brands that had never heard of her. My office phone rang. Rachel. Have you seen her latest Instagram story? She asked without preamble. I pulled it up. Zoe was crying into the camera, mascara artfully smudged. I've been targeted by jealous haters who want to destroy my authentic connection with my followers. Authentic? I scoffed. Like the authentic Gucci bag she resold on Poshmark? Speaking of authenticity, Rachel said, the IRS just received an anonymous tip about unreported income from a certain influencer's side hustle. I smiled. Anonymous, huh? Completely untraceable, just like the tip about Aston's company that went to the state financial regulators. My intercom buzzed. Miss Charlie, Zoe's on line 1. She sounds upset. Put her through. I switched to speakerphone so Rachel could hear. You evil bitch! Zoe's voice cracked with fury. You did this! You leaked those lies! Lies? I kept my voice calm. Like the lie about sleeping with Josh while he was dating me? Dead silence. Oh yes, I know about that too. Josh's fiancée Maria was quite helpful with screenshots. You're trying to destroy me, Zoe hissed. My followers are unfollowing by the thousands. Brands are pulling their contracts. Maybe they don't appreciate being scammed. I'll tell everyone what you did, how you cut off your own family out of jealousy. Go ahead, I interrupted. Tell them how jealous I am that I paid your mortgage, funded your lifestyle, bankrolled your husband's failing business. The door to my office opened. Caden walked in, holding a thick manila envelope. "Speaking of your husband's business," I continued, "how much did you know about the forged signatures? The embezzlement?" More silence. "That's what I thought." I nodded to Caden, who started laying out documents on my desk. "You might want to lawyer up, Zoe. Both of you." She hung up. Seconds later, my phone lit up with a call from Aston. "Don't answer it," Caden said. "He needs to see these first." He pointed to the papers. Complete audit trail, every forged check, every misappropriated client payment, every fake invoice, plus proof he knew about Zoe's unreported income and helped hide it. My mother burst into the office, face flushed. "What have you done? Zoe's having a breakdown on social media." "Show her," I told Caden. He handed Mom the documents. Her hands shook as she read. "This can't be right," she whispered. "Aston wouldn't—" "He did," Caden said gently. "All of it." My phone buzzed with a text from Mia. "Zoe's going live on Instagram. She's threatening to expose company secrets." I pulled up the stream. Zoe was pacing her designer kitchen, the one I'd paid to renovate. "My toxic sister-in-law thinks she can silence me," she was saying, mascara now completely ruined. "But I know things about her company." The stream suddenly cut off. "What happened?" Mum asked. Rachel's voice came through my speaker. "Instagram just suspended her account for fraudulent activity. Oops!" A commotion erupted in the outer office. Aston burst in, wild-eyed. "Fix this!" he demanded. "Fix it now!" "Fix what?" I asked calmly. "Your fraud, your wife's scams, your lies. I'm your brother. And I'm your victim." I stood up. "The DA's office has copies of everything. So does the IRS. You have 10 days to vacate the house before they move in." "You can't." "I can. I did. And if you try to fight this, if you try to drag my company into your mess, I'll make sure every client, every vendor, every person you've ever worked with knows exactly what you did." Mum sank into a chair. "Charlie, please, he's your family." "No," I said quietly. "He's a con man who happened to share my parents, and now he's facing consequences." Aston's phone rang. His face went pale as he answered it. "What do you mean cancelled? No, please, we can explain. Hello? Hello?" He looked up, devastated. "Our credit cards, they're all—" "Frozen," Caden finished. "Standard procedure in fraud investigations." My office phone rang again. Rachel's voice was gleeful. "Turn on the local news, now!" I clicked on my desktop monitor. There it was. Breaking news. Local interior design firm under investigation for financial fraud. Aston staggered back, collapsing onto my office couch. Mum was crying silently. "You have 10 days, I repeated. Get out of my house, stay away from my company, and remember, this is exactly what you paid for, with my money." The workaholic had finished her calculations, and the balance was finally due. The video started shaky, then stabilized as Zoe centered herself in frame. Her designer kitchen, my designer kitchen, looked oddly bare in the background. Moving boxes peeked into view. "My loves, my authentic followers," she began, voice trembling. "I need to share my truth about the cruel campaign of harassment." A loud knock interrupted her performance. The camera jolted as she turned. "Mrs. Bond," a man's voice called. "Repo service, we're here for the Range Rover." The live stream abruptly ended. I closed my laptop with a satisfied click just as Rachel walked in. "That was entertaining," she said, dropping into the chair across from me. "How many viewers caught that little performance?" "Enough." I checked my phone. Though her follower count has dropped another 20,000 since yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, Rachel pulled up an email on her phone. Maria sent this. Apparently, she found more evidence of Josh and Zoe's affair, including some interesting timing around your miscarriage 3 years ago. My hands froze over my keyboard. "What?" "Zoe was with Josh the day you lost the baby. While you were in the hospital, she told him not to answer your calls. The old wound ripped open fresh. I remembered lying there alone, calling Josh repeatedly, wondering why my boyfriend of 2 years couldn't be bothered to show up during the worst moment of my life. That's why I threw myself into work, I said quietly. Everyone called me a workaholic, but really, I was just trying not to fall apart. My phone buzzed. Aston. Don't answer it, Rachel warned. No, I want to hear this. I put it on speaker. Yes. We're being evicted, he sounded panicked. The bank says the mortgage is in default. They're accelerating the loan. That tends to happen when you stop making payments. You know we can't afford... Listen, I'm filing a lawsuit. Defamation, emotional distress. You can't just... Actually, I cut in, I can. And if you file that lawsuit, I'll countersue for fraud. I'll submit every forged document, every cooked book, every fake signature. How do you think that will look in court? I have proof you verbally agreed to support us. Voice memos. Like the one where you joke about bleeding the golden goose dry? Or the one where you and Zoe laugh about manipulating me after my miscarriage? Silence. Yeah, Maria sent those too. Amazing what people keep on their phones. Charlie, his voice cracked, please, we're about to lose everything. No, you're about to lose what was never yours to begin with. My money, my house, my patience. Mum says, Mum enabled you for years, but she can't save you from this. I leaned forward. You have 7 days left. Get out of my house. I hung up as Rachel's phone pinged with a news alert. She started laughing. What? I asked. Remember that luxury skincare brand Zoe was working with? They just posted a public statement distancing themselves from her and announcing an audit of all their influencer partnerships. My intercom buzzed. Miss Charlie, your mother's here. I sighed. Send her in. Mum looked smaller somehow, her usual perfectly coiffed appearance slightly dishevelled. Have you seen what they're saying about your brother online? You mean the truth? He made mistakes, but... No. I stood up. Mistakes of forgetting to pay a bill or missing a deadline. He committed fraud, repeatedly, and you enabled it. I was trying to keep the family together. By sacrificing me, by watching them mock me, use me, steal from me. You were always the strong one, she whispered. Strong doesn't mean invulnerable. I pulled out the hospital records from 3 years ago. Did you know about this? About Zoe and Josh? She wouldn't meet my eyes. That was answer enough. Get out, I said quietly. And tell Aston and Zoe they have 6 days now, not 7. After she left, Rachel touched my arm. You okay? No. I looked at the hospital records. But I will be. Because you know what's funny? They called me a workaholic like it was an insult. But my work, my company, it's the only thing that never betrayed me. And now it's given you the power to fight back. My phone lit up with another news alert. Social media influencer faces investigation for tax fraud and FTC violations. You know what the best revenge is? I asked, showing Rachel the headline. Success. No, I smiled. Documentation. And I documented everything. The workaholic had receipts, and they were about to cost my family everything they thought they'd stolen from me. The house keys felt heavy in my hand as I stood in the empty driveway. Where Zoe's Range Rover once sat, there were only oil stains on the concrete. The final notice from the repo company still fluttered on the front door. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Need backup? No, I texted back. This is something I need to do alone. The front door opened with a familiar creak. Inside, the house echoed with emptiness. Designer furniture gone. Art removed from walls. Only scattered papers and forgotten trash remained. The detritus of a hasty evacuation. A live stream notification popped up on my phone. Zoe's life update, our new beginning. I clicked it. And while some people think they've won by forcing us out of our home, Zoe's voice warbled from what looked like a modest apartment, they can't take away our dignity. I snorted, walking through the kitchen where she'd filmed countless cooking tutorials using appliances I'd paid for. A crumpled sponsorship contract lay abandoned on the counter, one of the many deals that had evaporated once the truth came out. Upstairs, in what used to be their home office, I found a photo album. Opening it, I saw myself staring back, younger, smiling, standing between Aston and Zoe at their wedding. I'd paid for that too, though the photo didn't show the credit card bills or the quiet resentment. My phone rang. Caden. "They're gone," he said without preamble. Aston just emailed his resignation to all our clients, included some choice words about you. Let me guess, I'm a heartless monster who destroyed his family. Close, sociopathic workaholic who chose money over blood. But the clients aren't buying it. 3 already signed with my new firm. A noise downstairs made me freeze. "I'll call you back." I crept down the stairs to find my mother standing in the foyer, looking lost. "I used my spare key," she said softly. I don't know what I thought. That you'd find them here? That everything would magically go back to normal? She picked up a fallen photo frame, Aston's college graduation. Where did they go? According to Zoe's stream, some apartment across town, the only place they could afford on their actual income. "This feels wrong," she whispered. "Wrong like watching them steal from me for years. Wrong like knowing about Josh and Zoe and saying nothing. That kind of wrong." She flinched. I was trying to protect my Aston, always Aston. I walked to the kitchen, Mum following. "You know what I found in his office files? Every time I gave them money, he recorded it as stupid tax in his personal ledger. That's what he called my help. He didn't mean—" "Stop defending him," my voice echoed off empty walls. "For once in your life, stop making excuses for him and see what he really is." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I see now. I do. When the police came with those questions about the fraud, when Zoe's sponsors started demanding their money back, I finally saw what you've been seeing all along." My phone buzzed again. A text from Rachel. "Turn on the news now." I pulled up the local news station's website. The headline made my mother gasp. "Local interior designer under criminal investigation. Client funds missing." They're saying— Mum sank into a kitchen chair. "They're saying he stole from clients too?" "He did." I showed her my phone. "Caden found everything. Client deposits, missing funds, fake projects. It's all there." She buried her face in her hands. "What have I done? What did I help create?" Before I could answer, the doorbell rang. Through the glass, I saw Rachel and Caden standing there with takeout bags and wine bottles. "We thought you might need this," Rachel said when I opened the door. "Empty house inspection is better with friends." "And wine," Caden added, holding up an expensive bottle of red. They stopped short seeing my mother. "It's okay," I said. "She was just leaving." Mum stood, straightening her shoulders. "Actually, if it's all right, I'd like to stay, to hear everything, the whole truth, no matter how much it hurts." Rachel and Caden looked at me questioningly. I thought about all the family dinners where I'd sat silently while Aston and Zoe mocked me. All the times Mum had told me to just laugh it off, be the bigger person, take care of my brother. "Okay," I said finally, "but no more excuses, no more enabling, just truth." We sat on the floor of my empty house, the house I'd bought with my sad, lonely workaholic money, and opened the wine. As Rachel and Caden laid out the evidence of Aston and Zoe's deceptions, I watched my mother's face crumple, then harden with each new revelation. Sometimes I realized revenge isn't about destroying people. Sometimes it's about forcing them to finally see the truth. The final tally is 3.2 million, Caden said, sliding the forensic accounting report across my desk. That's how much your brother stole from clients, vendors, and you combined. I nodded, unsurprised. The investigation had revealed layers of fraud deeper than even I had suspected. My phone buzzed with Mia's daily social media report. She'd earned back her position after coming clean about everything Zoe had manipulated her into doing. Sue, Zoe's new account has 847 followers, Mia reported. Her latest post is about finding joy in simple living from a studio apartment in Cincinnati. And Aston? Working as a junior designer at a furniture store, making actual minimum wage for the first time in his life. Rachel walked in, waving her tablet. You're going to love this. Remember that voice memo where Aston joked about bleeding you dry? Hard to forget. It just got played in court during his fraud hearing. The judge was not amused. I turned to my window, looking out at the city skyline. My company had doubled its revenue since cutting ties with Aston's toxic referrals. Turns out, success is easier when you're not bankrolling someone else's lies. My intercom buzzed. Your mother's here. Mum looked different these days, smaller, but somehow stronger. She'd started therapy after everything came out, finally confronting her role in enabling Aston's behaviour. I sold my house, she announced without preamble. I blinked. What? I'm downsizing, using the money to help pay back some of what Aston stole from his clients. She sat down heavily. It won't fix everything, but, Mom, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She pulled out an old photo, me at my company's launch party, beaming with pride. I have a lot to make up for, starting with how I treated you. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Aston. Read it, Rachel urged. I opened the message. They're garnishing my wages. This is all your fault. You've destroyed our lives just because we hurt your feelings. I hope you're happy with yourself. Mum read it over my shoulder and straightened up. May I? I handed her my phone. She typed quickly. No, Aston, you destroyed your own life. Stop blaming your sister for your choices. I raised you better than this. She hit send before I could stop her. Mum, I'm done enabling him, she said firmly, and I'm done watching you carry the weight of his mistakes. Rachel cleared her throat. Speaking of mistakes, Maria sent over the final screenshots from Josh and Zoe's affair. Want to see them? No, I smiled. That's the past. I'm more interested in the future. Like the future where your company just landed the governor's mansion renovation, Caden grinned, or the future where Architectural Digest wants to feature you in next month's issue. Both sound good to me. My phone buzzed again, a news alert. Local designer pleads guilty to fraud charges. Mum's hand found mine. Are you okay? Actually, yes. I squeezed her hand. For the first time in years, I really am. Mia poked her head in. Sorry to interrupt, but you have that client meeting in 10 minutes. The one about the new luxury hotel project. Right? I stood up, smoothing my dress. Rachel, you're with me. Caden, can you finish the vendor contracts? On it, boss. Mom watched me gather my things, a mix of pride and regret on her face. I used to worry about you being alone, focused only on work. I never realized you weren't alone at all. You were building something real while Aston was building castles in the air. Speaking of building things, Rachel interjected, should we tell her about the youth business mentorship program you're funding? I shot her a look, but Mum's eyes lit up. What program? It's nothing, I said. Just a foundation to help young entrepreneurs start legitimate businesses, especially those from families that complicated their dreams. Mum's eyes welled up. You're still helping people, even after everything. The difference is, I'm helping people who deserve it, who'll do something real with it. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from Zoe's last remaining sponsor, requesting my company's services instead of her promotion. Ready? Rachel asked, holding the door. I looked around my office, at my mother's proud smile, at Caden's steady presence, at Mia's eager competence, at Rachel's unwavering loyalty. You know what? I said. I really am. Because that's the thing about being a workaholic. When you build something real, something honest, something true, it builds you right back up, and no amount of family drama can tear that down.